stone of hope. With this faith, we should be able to work together, to pray together, to struggle together, to go to jail together, to stand up and fight for freedom, knowing that one day we will be free. This will be the day when all of God's children would sing with a new meaning. My country, 'tis of thee, sweet land of liberty. Of thee I sing, land where my fathers died, land of the pilgrim pride, from every mountainside, let freedom ring. I would like the congregation to say amen.
Amen.
Hallelujah. Now, my original name was Michael Luther King. I later changed my name to Martin. I was born in Atlanta, Georgia in 1929. I was a preacher's son. My father was a Baptist minister, and his father before him. I graduated a segregated high school at the age of 15. After attending Morehouse College, I dedicated 3 years of my life to theological studies at Crochet Seminary in Pennsylvania. I met my wife, Coretta, while earning my graduate degree at Boston's University. Later, we settled down in Montgomery, Alabama, where I became the 20th pastor of the Dexter Avenue Baptist Church. You see, when Rosa Parks was arrested for not relinquishing her seat to a white man on a bus, I organized a successful boycott against the Montgomery bus system that lasted 381 days. On December 20th, 1956, the Supreme Court ruled that segregated buses were unconstitutional. This was a major victory and the heart of the civil rights movement. Because I have proved that nonviolent methods can yield results. I was arrested upwards of 20 times. I was assaulted at least 4. Though I was a peaceful, God-fearing man, I often find myself the target of violent intent. I was stabbed. My house was bombed. My family suffered through relentless personal attacks, but this did not stop me. I was willing to lay down my life in the cause to freedom. I traveled over 5 million miles, delivered 2,500 speeches. I wrote 5 books. I earned the ear and respect of President John F. Kennedy. And in 1964, at the age of 35, I became the youngest man to have ever received the Nobel Peace Prize. I am American. I am deeply American. Because I have confidence and faith, not only in God, but in American democracy, in the Constitution, in liberty and fairness for all. Because I've been to that mountaintop, and I don't mind like anybody. I want to live a long life. Longevity has its place. But I'm not concerned with that tonight. I just want to do God's will. Because he chosen me to go to that mountaintop. And I looked over and I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you. But I want all of you to know that we, as a people, we're will get to that promised land. And I'm happy today. I'm not worried about anything. I'm not fearing any man. His mine eyes have seen the glory and the coming of the Lord. Glory. Oh, glory. Oh, glory. Glory. Hands to the heaven. No man, no weapon formed against. Yes, glory is destined. Everyday women and men become legends. Senses go against our skins become blessings. The movement's like a rhythm to us. Freedom is like religion to us. Justice is just a position in us. Justice for all just ain't specific enough. Once I die, the spirit will be risen enough. True living in us, religion is us. That's why I pose a statue. That's why we walk through Ferguson with our hands up. Shot sand down, and we stand up. King stand down, we stand up. Shot down, up. Kid pointed to the mountaintop and we ran up. When the glory comes, it'll be ours. It'll be ours. Oh, one day. When glory comes, it will be ours. Now the war isn't over and the victory is won, but we'll fight to the finish. When it's all said and done, we'll pray glory, I will be thy kingdom come. That will be done on earth. Glory be thy name.
When I was 19, I married Raymond Parks, civil rights leader, and a barber. I do hope my bus arrives soon. I'm running late. Raymond wasn't my type at first, but he was such a gentleman, and I fell in love with his pride and commitment to civil rights for our people. Have any of you ever heard of the civil rights movement? Yes.
Yes.
Well, they call me the mother of the civil rights movement. You see, it all started on December 1st, 1955, when I refused to give up my seat on the bus to a white person. Oh, here come the bus now.
All aboard. Next stop, Clay Street. waist area. You better.
In the water, wade in the water, children, wade in the water. God's gonna trouble the water. Look at all these beautiful faces this afternoon. I was encouraged to come here today to tell my story. You know, can't nobody tell your story like you can. I was born in 1820 on a plantation in Dorchester County, Maryland. Now my birth name was Araminta, but they called me Minty till I changed my name to Harriet. Now both of my parents were enslaved Ashanti Africans. They had 11 of us children. And I watched as my parents watched most of my brothers and sisters sold off into slavery. That's what they did to us, you know. Now I might have been about 4, maybe 5 when they first put me to work. I was in people's household, rented out to other plantation neighbors to do housework. 5. Now, you know, slaves weren't allowed to read or write. That was against the law. So I didn't know how to do much else. And I wasn't good at housework. So they used to beat me every day. Eventually, they decided to put me in the field to do field work and be a field hand. Now I was small, but I was strong. And working in the field helped build up my strength. Now I tell you, there's an incident in my life that really changed things for me. I might have been about 15 or so. And one of the overseers was chasing after this runaway slave. And here I go, blocking his path so that slave could get away. Well, he picked up this heavy weight and he threw it at him. But he didn't get that slave. Ah!
Shortcut.
I got hit in the head with that weight. And he crushed my skull. I wasn't no good for a long time. They couldn't put me in the field to do nothing. And I ended up having these sleeping fits. But when I got better, they put me right back in the fields, chopping wood, carrying sage. Well, I was expecting to do everything the men could do. And I watched them beat slaves to death, work them to death too. And when that mean old Edward Brodus died and his son took over, he rented me out too. Except this time I went to the lumber merchant. Because I was good with the wood, he'd give me extra jobs. And with those extra jobs, sometimes he'd give me a little extra money. And I got to squirrel that money away. Now, in 1844, I met this beautiful man named John Tullian. He was a free black man. Can you believe it? He lived on the other plantation. And I told John, I said, John, I want to run up north so I could be free too. Well, he didn't like that idea. scared I was gonna get the both of us in trouble. Said it was dangerous. Had the nerve to tell me to stay in a woman's place. After all that men's hard work I was doing, I was supposed to stay in a woman's place. I got so mad at him, I wanted to get that heavyweight and hit him over the head with it. I wanted to be free. And he wasn't gonna stop. So I just stopped talking to my John about my plans. But I didn't give him up. Now you know, a lot of people, they don't really know that slavery wasn't only in the South. Oh yeah, they had slavery up north like here in places in New York. Except up north, the slaves was freed first. Now I ain't talking about that Emancipation Proclamation of 1863 where the whole country of slaves got free. I'm talking about that Emancipation Act of 1828 where up north and here in New York, the slaves was free. Now down south, we slaves wanted to be free too. But that's why I ran away. And that's why I took some slaves with me. I remember it like it was yesterday. Oh yeah. Now I remember, because I didn't tell my husband about it. I just picked up and left. He didn't know where I was going or if I was ever going to come back. I got my two brothers to go with me, but they were scared, wanted me to go back. But I was too afraid to go back. I couldn't live the life of a slave for one more day. I waited till nighttime. And I took them back roads and I waded through them dark waters. It's the South. You don't know what's in them dark waters. And all I had was a courage my belly full of courage, passion for freedom, and that North Star as my guide. But eventually, I got help along the way. Now, you know, most people, they don't know history, and they don't know that the abolitionists really helped save a lot of us enslaved people. Oh, yes. They fed me. They gave me water. They hid me during the day so I could sleep. And they pointed me in the direction of where I needed to go. And I was good talking with them. So I worked with those abolitionists and I talked with the slaves in secret. No, I wasn't afraid either. I might be 5 foot tall and a little small, but guess what I got? This here rifle. And I wasn't afraid to use it neither. Oh, I point this rifle at anybody that wanted to take us back to slavery. Or any slave that wanted to turn back. If they turn back, no telling what'll happen if they get caught. What kind of secrets they gonna tell, right? Where we going? How we getting it? Who helping us? How we passing our messages along? We just couldn't take that risk. No, we couldn't take that risk. Steal away, steal away to Jesus. Steal away home. I ain't got long to stay here. Come on, now you're slowing us down. Take this here branch. Come on, take this here branch. You're going to wipe your footsteps away. Wipe your footsteps away. Wipe. Now, come on. Now look, here, hold on. We're going to get this here pepper. Throw the scent off for the dogs. Come on now. You're slowing us down, you hear?
hungry. If we go back now, Massa, maybe he won't be so bad.
You tired.
I wants to go back.
You hungry. You want to go back. You ought to be sick and tired of being a slave. Now, I ain't never lost a slave before. I ain't gonna lose one today. Now, I'm gonna give you a minute to get yourself together. But don't you move or go check on the other slaves. You wait right here. Don't you go nowhere.
I was tired. I was hungry. I can't go no further. Soon I will be done with the troubles of this world. Troubles of this world. Troubles of this world. Soon I will be done with the trouble of this world. I'm going home to be with my God. I'm tired. I can't go no further. I want to go back.
Let me tell you something. Ain't nobody going back. Now, if you want to go home, I will send you home to Jesus. Get on, I say. They waiting up ahead. Rush. 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 Between 1850 and 1860, I took over 19 trips, leading those runaway slaves to freedom. Oh, them slave masters ain't like that. We got together, put a $40,000 bounty on my head. Wanted, dead or alive. But let me tell you something. You can't put a price on freedom. I died in 1913 as a free black woman, knowing that to be the exact truth. Nobody gave me up. Nobody gave me up for that $40,000. But freedom ain't free. And we all got to pay a price. Those that came before me and those of you that come after me. Freedom ain't free. Freedom ain't free.
Slavery, 1861, to Diamond Grove, Missouri. My mother was a slave, owned by Moses Carter. When I was a young child, such as yourself, the country was in the middle of the Civil War. During the war, slave owners had a hard time keeping track of their slaves. So Moses Carver sent all of his slaves to Arkansas, including my mother and I. When the war ended, all of the slaves disappeared. except for me. I was a frail, sick, motherless child, unable to do heavy farm work, but I was lucky. The Carver family took a liking to me and nursed me back to health. When I was young, they would let me play in the yard where I would experiment with plants and flowers. I was about 4 or 5 when slavery ended. And even though I was no longer a slave, the Carver family let me stay on their plantation till I was 10 or 12 years old. When I left, I would wander off in the wilderness where I would continue to develop my interest in plants. I didn't always have it so easy. As a young man, I was lonely. I had all sorts of poverty-stricken issues and had to deal with a lot of prejudice because of the color of my skin. Well, do you think I gave up? Do you think I gave up? No, I scraped and struggled to self-educate myself and did whatever I had to so I could survive. I took jobs as a household worker, a hotel cook, a laundryman, and a homesteader. By the time I reached my late 20s, I was able to earn a high school education from a school in Minneapolis, Kansas. After high school, I was accepted to a college in Kansas, but was later rejected. They learned that I was black. Plants are not my only interest. I studied art and piano at Simpson College in Indianola, Iowa. In fact, I am quite the accomplished canvas painter. After Simpson College, I went to Iowa State Agricultural School, where in 1894, I received the Bachelor of Science in Agricultural Science, and in 1896, a Master of Science. So here I am at 35 with my degrees and all. Not too bad for a poor slave boy, would you say? But little did I know my career was just starting. In 1896, I left Iowa for Alabama to direct the new agriculture department at the Tuskegee Industrial Institute, a school headed by the famous black educator Booker T. Washington. Yes, it was at Tuskegee where my passion began to find ways to improve conditions for black Americans. It was my belief that black Americans could improve their conditions for the better through learning education and skill. I had no interest in using politics to promote change. My life work was devoted to teaching poor black sharecroppers on ways to improve their soil so their crops could grow. With my education and skills, I was able to help both black and white farmers on ways to improve their soil. I learned that the 3 #1 crops to improve one's soil are, say it with me, peanuts, sweet potatoes, and soybeans. From the peanut, I invented over 300 products alone, including cheese, milk, flour, ink, dyes, plastic, wood stains, soap, linoleum, and medicinal oils. And from the sweet potato, I developed over 118 products, including flour, vinegar, molasses, rubber, ink, a synthetic rubber, and postage stamp glue. By 1940, my inventions helped the peanut to finally be recognized as a crop and to free the South from its dependence on cotton. Throughout my career, I received several rewards and honor. Among them were my election to the Britain Society for the Encouragement of Arts and Manufactures. Later in my career, Thomas A. Edison offered me a salary for over $100,000 a year, but I declined. I was given all sorts of luxuries, and because of my success, I had friends like the likes of President Calvin Coolidge and Franklin D. Roosevelt. My friends were Henry Ford and Mahatma Gandhi. I was given so much, but I was never a man who cared for the luxuries of the world. As I matured, I only cared to help people and do my work that started from my dedication to help poor black sharecroppers in the South. However, I am thankful that my work helped change life for the entire South, since farming was the #1 job for most Americans. Well, after a long and prosperous life, I passed away January the 5th, 1943. Ladies and gentlemen, if I may, I would like to leave you with this. You see, I wanted to tell you my story so you can understand that life is tough, but you gotta be what?
Tougher.
Be tougher. Clap your hands if you have dreams.
Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen. I didn't mean to be so rude. I just need to fix my hair. This will only take a moment. Just simply marvelous. Oh. If they told you that I was responsible for revolutionizing the hair care and cosmetic industry in the 20th century, well, here I am. My name is Madam C.J. Walker, and I was born in 1867. Yes. And as a little girl, I was orphaned because my parents were slaves also. At the age of 7 with my sister. We then moved on to Vicksburg, Mississippi, where we picked cotton. And then, at the tender age of 14, I got married, which wasn't uncommon at that time. And then I had my only daughter in 1880. 2 years later, my husband died. But then I moved on to St. Louis with my 4 brothers who developed themselves as barbers. And I worked really hard as a laundry woman and saved enough money to educate my daughter. I also joined the National Association for Black Women. Need was my inspiration. I had to work hard for a living. You see, in the 1890s, I developed a scalp ailment. I was losing my hair. I didn't know what to do. I knew I had to do something. So I got to mixing up some home remedies, and I had to figure out how to keep the hair on my head and grow it back. So I mixed up some home remedies, and in 1902, I moved on to Malone and started marketing their products, and I also got married to Charles Joseph Walker. One night, I had a dream. And in this dream, a black man appeared. And he told me what I should do to mix up for my hair. So I got to cooking, and I mixed up these remedies, and I developed my own product. I called it the Madam C.J. Walker Hair Grower System. Yes, and I placed my beautiful face on it. Madam C.J. Walker. I then started marketing my products from door to door, reminding black women that black is beautiful, showing them my preparations. I was doing so well, and my business was doing so well. I became the first black female millionaire. Yes. I had thousands of employees, but first I only had 1,000. I trained and developed a mass sales force of black women, selling these products from door to door. I was doing so well, I even opened my own college. Yes, in 1908, yes. And I called it Lilia College. There I trained sales women, and I had a vast line of products. It wasn't just hair products. We had cosmetics also. I even had an employee named Miss Joyner who created and patented the wave machine. Everybody loved the wave machine. Yes, because it kept your waves in longer and it stayed shiny. Even men used my wave machine, well, her wave machine too, and what happened? It was very popular. I had a vast line of products, hair care, cosmetics. And think of it. I who, in 1949 years earlier, only had $2 in my pocket, was now the first black female millionaire. You see, at that time, it was unheard of a black person owning their own business, much less having that amount of money. Well, as Madam C.J. Walker, I was able to purchase a 34-room mansion on the Hudson. You see, some of us are born with built-in forgetters. Not me. I remember where I came from. I started off in the cotton field. And from the cotton field, I became a laundry woman. And from the laundry woman, I was in the kitchen cooking. And from there, I built up myself a my business and became the first black female millionaire. Well,
and positive change in you and in the society in which you live in by using these keys, making them your own. You will live a life of honor, respect, and success. For what is possible for me is possible for you. Because man should be judged not by the color of his skin, but by the content of his character. My wife, Helen, we were attending a meeting at the National Council of Women, and we were going to speak at the church that night. You know, France was furious when I married Helen. You see, Helen was white. I told them my first wife was the color of my mother. My second wife was the color of my father. Well, time is moving on, and it's time for me to get ready to go. But remember, you can do what you want to do. Read. Use the power of the written and spoken word. Use it to bring about that permanent and positive change. And remember, agitate. 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 Thank you. Town of Easton on the eastern shore of Maryland. Now, I'm the son of a slave woman. Her name is Harriet Berry. My father? The only thing I know about my father is that some say he might have been my master, but I can't swear to that. I was separated from my mother not long after my birth and began to be raised by my grandparents. At 6 years old, my grandmother, she carried me to the house of her master, and she left me there. I had no knowledge of this betrayal. I know I prayed that someone would return for me, defenseless. Many nights I would lay there crying, blaming myself for my very existence. I would never recover from this. At 8 years old, I was sent to Baltimore to be rented out as a houseboy with Hugh and Sophia Auld. But soon after my arrival, my new mistress, Miss Sophia, she took a liking to me, and she began to teach me the alphabet. But her husband found out, and he forbade her from continuing the instruction. Why? Because it was against the law to teach slaves how to read. But I wanted to learn. So I took it upon myself to learn by making the neighborhood boys my teachers. I would steal food from the master's house and give it to the boys coming home from school in exchange for the lessons in reading and writing. I learned every lesson that the teacher taught them. And by the time I was 12, I was able to secretly purchase a copy of the Columbian Orator. This book gave me an understanding and appreciation of the power of the written and spoken word as two of the most effective means to bring about permanent and positive change in the community. But at 15, my star was a little too bright, and I was sent back to the Eastern Shore to work in the fields. And it was there that I experienced many of the hardships that slaves felt during the 270 years of legalized slavery in America. I also had this encounter with the mean old slave breaker, Edwin Covey. Oh, he used to beat me. He beat me and beat me. As a matter of fact, he broke me. But one day, he started to beat and something just clicked. And I fought back. Let's just say that our fight, it ended in a draw. But the victory, the victory was mine. You see, my standing up to the slave breaker restored my sense of self-worth. And after an unsuccessful escape at the age of 18, I was sent back to the Auld family, where I had to go and work on the docks in Baltimore. And it was there that I met the love of my life, Anna Murray. You see, Anna was a free black woman. She had her own little business, and we started talking. And of course, we fell in love. But she was free, and I was a slave. So we couldn't be together. But Anna, she was determined to help me escape. She helped me get some free papers, and she made this sailor suit for me. Oh, it fit so good. As a matter of fact, I thought I looked rather handsome in it. And she provided me with some funds where I was able to take the train and head on into New York City. This was September 3rd, 1838. And on the 4th, I was in New York City. Free at last. Anna and I, we would meet up in New Bedford, Massachusetts, where we began to raise a family. And whenever I could, I would attend abolitionist meetings. Then, early September 1841, I attended an anti-slavery convention on Nantucket Island. And soon after, I became a lecturer for the Massachusetts Anti-Slavery Society and a colleague of William Lloyd Garrison. This work led me into public speaking and writing. I published my own newspaper, the North Star. I wrote 3 autobiographies. I attended the first Women's Rights Convention in Seneca Falls, New York in 1848. Now in 1852, I was asked to speak at a 4th of July celebration in my adopted hometown of Rochester, New York. And I said in part, I asked the question, what to the American slave is your 4th of July? I answer, a day that reveals to him more than any other day in the year the gross injustice and cruelty to which he is the constant victim. To him, your celebration is a sham. Your boasted liberty an unholy license. Your national greatness swelling vanity. Your shouts of liberty and are empty and heartless. With all your hymns and prayers, with all their thanksgivings, with all the February in the year